Well, good morning everybody and welcome to an exciting, very exciting Sunday morning show because we have hit the magical 50,000 subscribers onto this channel, and I cannot thank you enough for those of you that have been with me for not just like the long journey, but those of you that have come on board right now. Now, I have to admit, when I first kicked off with this channel, here to talk to you about the new Mac Daddy 3 wedge, made by Callaway Golf. I really thought that getting to 100,000 subscribers was going to be a walk in the park. I thought the way in which it shot out the blocks all those years ago, and we're gaining 15, 20,000 subscribers in the first sort of, well, certainly the first 12 months, I thought, well, by the time we get into year 4 or 5, we'll certainly be at 100,000. And you always have to set yourself a goal, don't you? But my objective was to create a channel that, as I learnt, I shared those experiences with you guys, and that's kind of what I hope I've been able to do. As I've learned this game, as I've gone through my process of not being also being a PJ professional, but just learning from the experts, the people that build golf clubs, the people that come up with new ideas when it comes to golf swings, those tour players that come up with new ideas of how to get a golf ball round the golf course. Hopefully I've been able to share that with you guys and you've learned something. That's the objective, that you've learned something that has hopefully helped not only enjoy the game a bit more, but hopefully you've improved your game just that little bit more and shot those scores that you want to shoot.
That's a pretty good shot to start us off with. That's very nice, Lester. What? It's just gone in? Is that it? It's just gone in. How do you deal with that in a lesson, you know? You try to help somebody, that just went in. And he... He does his first shot and he holds it. Like, what do you do from there?
And for me personally, it's given me a chance to reflect on where I've been, the places that I've seen, the experiences that I've had with some of the most amazing people, my friends, and also people that I've met within the game of golf. And if I'm honest, whether it's 1,000 subscribers, whether it's 10,000 subscribers, 50,000, a million, you know, it's all about the journey. It's all about the journey, and that's no different than the game of golf, is it? Because ultimately, the game of golf is a journey, not just about trying to get from A to Z in the quickest time possible. It's how do you learn more about the game? And learning more about the game is what allows you, I think, to become just a little bit better within the game. Now, I talked about in the thumbnail that we've got a big announcement to make on this channel, and we really do. We've been waiting to get to that 50,000 subscriber mark before we made the big announcement. And I've got a small one as well, in the fact that we've just now taken on a new hat. I've created and designed a hat. I've always loved this kind of cord effect that goes across the top of the hat, and I've put my little logo on there. Now, these have been out on the shop for a few days, and therefore I'm now down to a very limited stock. But do not worry, because they've gone down so well that I've decided to not only restock what we've got in the navy, but also to have a little look at some other colors. But all in all, the feedback that I've got with these new hats is that people really like them. We've restocked on some of the other products in the shop as well, so if you want to go and check out some merch for your Christmas stocking, then make sure you go and check it out. Down in the description of this video, there's going to be the shop. So click on it and go and get yourself a nice new hat. Now I'm heading now to Cayman Golf because short game for me, obviously, as you know, is really important. It's what allows us to be able to score just that little bit better. I've got a few little tips that I want to share with you. And I've also got another thing that I want to talk about, which is when we've been and done that video up at Stoke Park with JJ. So I'm going to head to Cayman, then we're going to come back to the studio where I want to just sort of talk you through exactly what I'm actually thinking about this winter for my game. Well, what a difference a week makes, eh? From last week's Sunday show in the beautiful Costa Navarino, Greece, to, well, the stunning Cayman Golf here, just around the corner from Churston. And I love coming to Cayman because ultimately it's all about short game. This is why I bring my kids out here, because I want them to learn that part of the game first. I want them to become proficient with that area of the game, because ultimately when things aren't quite going right, the short game can save you and keep you around, well, keep you around your handicap really. Oh, I really don't know why I keep putting these cameras in silly positions, just so I get the shot that, I don't know, that some of you may enjoy. But when it comes to this channel, I feel like the whole idea of setting this up was to learn. I'm always learning, and I learn more when I edit than any other time, because I'm generally watching what other players on the channel are actually doing. And an example of that is been editing this break pass series with myself and Chris Gill. Now, Chris Gill's short game historically has been, well, been fantastic. I love to just watch the way he swings the club, not only obviously full, but when he swings that club with his wedge game, I think he's one of the best wedge players I've probably ever played with, to be honest with you. And it's so simple. It's so simple. And I talked about it on a previous Sunday morning show where I talked about the turn and things like that. But the one thing that jumped out to me when Gilly was playing with down at Newport, and he can probably comment on this a little bit better, but ultimately it felt like to me that he was extending his putting. And what I mean by that is that when you putt, you don't generally break your wrists. You generally keep them nice and solid, use the body to rotate through, and use almost like your back muscles to create the rotation of the actual putter. However, if you watch Gilly, and I will pop up a little pop up there on the left hand side, if you watch him, you'll see that there's very little hand action through the ball, whereas for me, I tend to just feel like I hinge very early in the swing. Obviously from that side of it, I can get the sense of getting a bit more speed, but generally if you keep yourself nice and rigid back and through, there's a lot less that can kind of go wrong. And for me, the thing that jumps out the most is your low point. It's making sure that you get consistent with your low point. What's low point? Well, that's the point of which the club starts to make contact with the ground and then kind of shallows itself out and then comes up through. So some of you will take a small divot or a small scuff. That's kind of like the low point. And ideally what you want is the ball to just be almost like a little bit back from that low point. So it hits the ball, not too thin, but hits the ball and then shallows out and then starts to come back up. And I think when you start to add hand action or wrist action into the shot, this is just another thing that you've got to try and manage in your swing. Whereas if you think about what Gilly's doing, he's taking all of that out of play. He's keeping himself really connected, as in like almost like a V with his arms and then the Y with the shaft. He's not going to break that. He's going to try and use that to turn through and manage his low point. And there's a lot less that can go wrong when you do it like that. Now, don't get me wrong. The first thing you're going to notice if you're someone that doesn't do this is you're going to feel like you've not got a great deal of power in the swing. But that's where you have to kind of start to learn to manage it. It's a bit like putting. You don't then just extend your wrists to try and hit a longer putt. You know, you just lengthen your backswing and then lengthen your follow through in order to maintain that good speed. So that's the first thing you're going to probably notice if you start to make a move towards this sort of technique, should we say. Hello. Another thing to kind of think about as well with short game, and whilst I'm out here, let's chat about it, is the actual wedge itself. Now, I'm not saying you need to go out and buy brand new wedges and have a whole new set of wedges in your game for, let's say, the winter time, but that's better, Gilly. But one thing that is extremely noticeable when you come out here, and they've had a lot of rain. You've had a lot of rain in the UK. In fact, we've had a lot of rain everywhere in Europe at the moment, I believe. So as I'm walking around this golf course, I'm feeling the soft ground underneath. Therefore, for lots of you players out there that don't necessarily strike the ball in the best every time, should we say, you're going to see that club want to dig into the ground. Your strike location is going to be not in the correct position on the club, a little bit too high. You're going to get these poppy shots which have got low spin and low ball speed, so you're going to kind of come up short a lot of the time, or you're just going to catch it a little bit fat or heavy. So what I've kind of had a little play around with over the years is the sole of the club. And you've heard of things like bounce and grind and things like that. Well, you've also got like the sole thickness, and what I mean is kind of from the leading edge to the back edge. Oh, this game is getting quite easy at the moment. These greens are rolling very nicely. So when you look at that wedge, and I'm talking the sole part here, let's take away all the sort of numbers of bounce and all of that sort of stuff, and then what the grind says it is. Just think about the thickness from that kind of front edge to that back edge. And What I've had in the past, and this is something that I've used when I've generally struggled a little bit, if I lose a bit of confidence, you'll see me going into a wedge like this one. I had two of them. I had this one, which is a W grind from Callaway, and I also had like a K grind from Titleist back in the day. So I would jump into these clubs just certainly when I lose a bit of confidence or when I'm in those wet conditions, because that sole at the bottom, if you compare it to what I've got, let's say on this 52, you can see that it's a lot thicker, a lot wider. A W grind meaning it's a wide sole, which is going to allow me, or certainly gives me the feeling that the club is wanting to kind of aquaplane across the top of the ground a little bit more. Remember, there's lots of moisture, that ground is soft, so it's going to want to kind of go south. Well, this one here, because there's a lot more there, it just allows it to just drift across the grass just a little bit easier. Now, like I said, I'm not asking you to go out and go and buy a whole new set of wedges for your game. What I'm simply saying is that you can go and pick up a wedge like this for no money, kind of second hand, in a pro shop bin, Facebook Marketplace, wherever. You'll be able to find these wedges for no money at all. And don't be too concerned that they haven't got, let's say, maybe the grooves that you would like to get from a fresh wedge, because at this time of the year, if the ground is soft, then ultimately the greens are going to be soft as well, which means that that green is generally going to stop just a little bit quicker anyway. So groove's not a major issue. And like I said, this is confidence building. This is for those players that do struggle a little bit with your short game. I'm certainly one of those in certain situations. So I'm focusing more on my strike performance over, let's say, my stopping power on the green. Anyway, that's enough chat about short game. I've been busy this week, really busy since I've been back, just obviously editing, getting all the footage together, hopefully get it out on the channel ASAP. But I've also putting in plans at the moment, because I'm heading out to Portugal in a couple of weeks or 3 weeks time to go and start doing my foremost shoots. And one of the questions that kind of came through to me was, is there anything in the tech out there that is sort of jumping out at you that you think is a real sort of game-changing kind of stuff? And to be honest with you, there's not a great deal. There are some beautiful looking products that I'm seeing out there, and the technology just moving it slightly. Are these companies focusing on maybe players that have got last year's model or the year before model? I don't think they are. I think they've kind of got wise to that now, and actually they're focusing on people that have got products that are maybe 4 or 5 years old, and then asking the question, can we improve on what you're actually doing with that club compared to the new version? But the biggest message that I'm getting, which is absolutely music to my ears, fittings. They talk about it all the time, is, you know, this is the new shaft or this is this, but you need to go and get fitted for it. We've moved loft around. You've almost got different kind of positions of weight in clubs with the same type of head, just in different lofts. So I think having fittings, going through that process, not just buying online, but going through that process of getting that fitting done with your local PJ Pro, oh, music to my ears. I finally feel like we're getting somewhere in this golf industry. Do you know the one thing I like about popping out onto this short course and just 2 wedges in your bag is you've got to play different types of shots. You've got to play low shots with 52s and 58 degree wedges. You've got to be able to play high shots. You've got to be able to draw it around trees. I do like that technique. It's skidding a little bit, but I do like it. Thank you, Christopher, as always. Knees went, knees went. Here he comes, look, dragging him out of his little area.
Hello all, you alright?
How are we, Dale?
Very good, yeah. A bit quiet today, but...
I just want to... I've spotted it. Well, I've actually spotted it a mile away.
I think I know what you're going to say as well.
Are we going to talk about that Movember Tash?
Yeah.
Is it? Have you raised a lot of money? Tell me you've raised a lot of money.
You wouldn't believe how much money I've raised.
How much have you raised?
Well, not a lot.
Not a lot.
I think Mrs. Lyons is going to pay me some money to take it off. Yeah.
Okay. Well, no. December's not far away now, so you can.
More of a fashion statement, I think, than a fundraiser.
And it is very fashionable. What you do today, everybody else does tomorrow.
Exactly.
Absolutely right. Right. Christmas is coming up.
Yep.
We normally do our little gathering, don't we?
We do. Yep.
Have we got a plan?
We have indeed. It's going to be just after Christmas.
Right.
29th, we're going to go up to Exeter Chiefs, aren't we? Lovely. Full day on it, really.
Rugby day. There's nothing better for me than a rugby day, especially with you and your old man.
A few Guinness.
Well, be rude not to, Dale.
And then red wine.
And maybe we'll have a bit of that as well.
Yeah, it'll be a good day, won't it?
Anyway, thank you for letting me out on your golf course. It's wonderful. It's in great condition. The greens are fantastic right now.
For the time of year, it's all right,
wet
isn't it?
is, you know?
Yeah, it's not been good.
Anyway, I've given them a few little tips on short game.
Good.
Maybe you could tune in as well. And,
I think I need to, yeah.
Let's have a little look at that. Anyway, I'll see you. If I don't see you before, I'll see you on the 29th.
Yep, I'll be tashless.
Okay, good. Good to hear. So hopefully you guys have seen the video that we put out this week, which was myself at Stoke Park with JJ. Now JJ is an amazing individual, really. He's not actually a golf professional, JJ Rivette. He does biomechanics, and he actually created the force plates that we were using in that studio. And what he was kind of saying was that we all have a golf swing signature. The signature is going to be one of two things. You're either going to be what he calls a pusher or a puller. For me personally, he feels that because I'm a little bit more left-handed in a lot of sports that I do, and also left-footed, let's say, in kicking a football, he was saying that actually my signature is more of what he calls a puller, somebody that kind of comes across the ball, swings it more kind of out to in. And I have heard this before, to be honest with you. I have heard this when I did a little bit of work with Mark Blackburn over in America. He was talking to me a little bit about how to use your feet and the sensation of your feet and how you move the weight within your feet and your legs to be able to create different types of shot shapes. So for me personally, I need to get the sense of feeling like as I'm taking that club away, I get the pressure point go more into the sort of the ball of my right foot. And then as I start to work down through, it really focuses in going into the heel of my left foot. And this will in turn help me to just swing on my natural signature line, which is kind of a little bit, almost the sensation of an out to in swing, promoting more of kind of like a fade shot. I'm not hitting it that far at the moment. That's only gone 143 yards, but it is quite cold. That kind of makes sense to me because I'm somebody that really struggles to, let's say, turn through the ball because I've worked the club so much over the years from kind of in to out that my body just generally stools a little bit as I kind of come through the shot, which then allows me to then flip my hands quite heavily and not allow me to be able to turn over or turn my shoulders and my body through the swing. So I noticed from that video there was a few questions where people were maybe asking to just, could I go over it a little bit more from the actual things that I kind of get the feelings to take away from it. And really for me is I'm still getting the sensation of turning, but I'm just getting the sensation as I turn, my weight just falls into the ball of my foot, and then as I turn back through, my weight really moves into the heel of that left side, allowing me to be able to kind of clear myself on the way through. Which people mentioned in the video about tempo. I always feel like if I get the tempo right in my golf swing, that's generally caused because I've been able to turn through the shot a little bit easier, again enabling me to be able to feel like I'm not thrashing at it and the body's just rotating and then the arms just deliver into the back of the golf ball. I'm going to be working on this over the winter period, just getting that feeling of being able to get that club to work naturally, but just get that sensation of getting the weight being pushed into my right ball of my foot on the way back to then get the sense of moving into my left heel on the way through. And I've got to say, my ball flight, what it's kind of really done and what I noticed over in Greece is that it's just quietened down the shape a little bit. I'm not getting the sense of getting huge amounts of shape, especially with my longer clubs. I haven't quite got the strike right yet, but what I do like is that I'm able to bring my dispersion down a little bit more and then enable me to hit maybe a few more greens when I'm out on the golf course. But I definitely think this is something that you guys can work on as well. Have a sensation of trying to use your feet, use the weight distribution within your feet to be able to hit different types of shots. If you are somebody that slices the golf ball, maybe you need to get the sensation of getting that weight moving into your heel on the way back. up into the ball of your foot on your left side on the way through, and then into your heel, which will enable you to maybe change your swing direction slightly. And then for those of you who struggle maybe to turn through the swing, maybe get the sensation of the reverse of that. Get into the ball of the foot on the way back, and then into your heel on the way through. That big announcement. Now, in the last few years, we've been putting together course vlogs from an awful lot of places. Around 130 course vlogs are now on the channel. And what we've been doing is been writing to these golf clubs that we've kind of worked with in the past, and we're trying to get what we call a society rate from them. The Dan Hendriksen Golf Society. This is something that I want to offer for you guys. We're going to go to these golf courses and get the best rates we can possibly get from them as almost like a thank you for showcasing them, but also giving you guys a thank you for tuning in and watching everything that I've done in the past few years. Now, this is going to be launched over the next month or so. We're going to be producing a website which is going to have all the golf courses on there that showcases obviously the videos that we've made for them, and then the rate that you'll be able to get your game of golf for. Now, this is free of charge. Remember, to subscribe to this channel is free of charge, and if you are a subscriber, you're instantly a member of the Dan Hendriksen Golf Society, which enables you and your friends, if they're also subscribers, the chance to go and play these wonderful golf courses, almost follow the footsteps of what we've done and go and play them and enjoy them for yourselves as we have over the last few years. I think this is a great opportunity, not only for you guys, but also to help continue to grow this amazing community that we've got from this channel, which is what this is kind of all about, isn't it? Now remember, free of charge, all you need to do is make sure you're a subscriber to this channel. So watch this space. More information to come from the Dan Hendriksen Golf Society. So just double check for me that you are subscribed. I just want to take this opportunity to say a huge thank you to you again for your support, your continued support of this channel and me personally, and the other guys that are involved. And don't forget, if you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, and I'll see you again. I'll see you next week.